The team, after some trial and tribulation, managed to get to where they are now. After leaving the city after some time, your team came across, well, not too many irregular things. You found a creature that was wandering the forest. You decided to roam around it. During the night, some of you encountered a few things. Some people seemingly to hunt a few other things. Curious about this, one of your team named Win was able to discern what was being hunted. Wanting to more or less discern for themselves what could be happening, your team eventually scouted the area. Win and Finder went there first, while the rest of the group fully rested. The creature, known as an owl bear, but I believe one of you said like in a toucan form, was being accosted. For sure, some type of poacher or something of that notion. And your team quickly decimated them with wolves and a nice shot from a revolver or a derringer or whatever Finder's actual weapon is called. I don't remember.
It has a fancy name, whatever. It's a revolver.
It's a boomstick. I believe it is called the shooting iron.
It was a pew pew.
It does
It
the
was a
pew
pew
pew.
pew.
Your team eventually, the rest of the group eventually joined with everyone else. But beforehand, Wynn was able to calm the creature, melding with nature itself, becoming a type of guardian of nature, if one would choose those words correctly. Eventually, Jemmy asked, why didn't you keep one alive? And a more or less kerfuffle happened between Wynn and Finder. Not the best connection right now, but hopefully things will work out, or at least things may get better. In game. Out of game, we talked about things, making sure what's going on. But in character-wise, things are in a kerfuffle. And, so this owlbear has like 2 cubs out there in the forest that your team has elected, more or less, to find before making way back to your main mission. And that's where we left off. I believe Wynn was able to commune with the creature. And befriend it.
We're heading. Yeah. We are. The creature and I are befriended, and we are escorting the beast to its home, which is in the same direction and area that we're going. It's just like an hour detour away. So
yeah. Traversing. Go ahead.
Oh, and I am running Pass Without Trace right now.
Okay. Well, since Pass Without Trace is active, do you like place it upon everyone else, Jimmy?
Basically, as long as everybody's within, I want to say 30 feet of me, they should automatically get the... Yeah, each creature you choose within 30 feet of you gets that +10 to stealth checks. And yeah, and I seem to recall calling out... Well, heck, I'll just do it again. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cast Pass Without Trace. You might want to stay a little close to me to make sure that you cover your tracks adequately.
Indeed.
Yeah, okay. As the array of the effect takes hold, yeah, everyone go ahead and roll stealth. Well, you are a group and now stealthy. Doesn't mean other things won't try to attack you.
So my rolls are 28.
Again, we'll be taking the group medium. Don't worry about 1 or 2 of you failing.
Still a 13.
Still a nat 1.
Oh wait, that's the wrong one.
Well, do you look at that?
Well, okay then.
That 14's a 24, the 20's a 30, the 3 is still a 13 finder, and then that 18's a 28.
Yeah. Like, overall, the median is 21, rounded down. Someone would have to actively looking for you and be aware that you exist. But yeah, while you are hidden and taken care of, you also remember a few things that happened beforehand. I believe one of you did cast, like, Speak with Dead. Got a couple of answers here and there about, like, who these people are, who they're working for, and a connection to Noche directly. You also have, like, a cache of things that they have and own. I believe Finder has most of it, other than, like, some of the silver.
Yeah, I split all the money. I can't remember what the rest of it was. It was like 7 rings, a gold locket, 5 daggers, 3 long swords, and 2 healing potions. Apparently, I know exactly what it was.
I can't remember what it was. But specifically, it's these things. I'm just going to copy and paste it from earlier in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe Jimmy also got a name to a face. Not to a face, but like to the group. I just can't find it in my notes, and I can't find it in the chat. So I'll probably make it up.
There was a mention to Marquis Rav.
Oh yeah, Marquis Rave. Thank you.
Rave, that's it. I should probably... Oh, I think you spelled it without an E, but...
I spelled it weird. You are correct.
Yeah.
On
Okay,
Marquis Rave, the E comes before the V.
there we go. I'll modify it so that I've got a pronunciation guide there, too.
Yeah. You know who these people specifically are working for, and who from the Flying Whale is the only name I can currently remember. They contacted, but that's neither here and there. Arcadia, thank you. Names. That specific person, the Marquis, spoke with someone from Arcadia, so that connection is sound. If you can somehow get one of the people from Arcadia to say, hey, yeah, I know them, that could give you a big hint, but, you know, neither here nor there. You're currently in the forest. As you're traversing, I believe you have everything other than the cage, because it'd be a pain to also carry.
Do we bring the horse?
I did believe you have Cassidy, like, riding the horse for some reason.
Alright, because she's sleeping.
Sleeping for now. She has, like, 1 hour left, and then she'd be fully rested.
Yeah, I'm still sleeping.
Yeah. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, like, she's resting.
Not for long.
Not for long.
Yeah.
I'll just have a horse there, I guess. People can move it if they like. Anyways, some time does pass. While traversing, you do encounter a few things that you can avoid. One is like a band of like people heading into the forest. They are not from the same group. They seem to be like hunter-gatherers, people that go out to like collect food and then bring it back to wherever they come from. If you want, you can speak with them or like let them leave, but they're not looking for you. They're like recently headed into the forest to collect game.
Do I see Wynn pointing at them and then silently drawing her finger across her throat? Yep, I'm not seeing a denial.
Sorry, what?
I said, do I see Wynn pointing at the other group of people and then silently drawing her finger across her throat?
No.
Yeah. The other thing.
Denial's the surest sign of guilt.
The other thing you do encounter is like this very big beetle kind of thing. It's just like roaming through the forest, collecting like clumps of dirt from like rocks. Some of the rocks like begin to glow a little bit, and then like moss begins to overlap them quite quickly. And then the beetle begins to like roll it into a ball and then like move it away. You can interact with the giant beetle if you'd like, but it is considered a huge creature.
Huge.
I want to ride it.
I was just about to ask, how compatible is it with a saddle?
Not
You need
very. It's big. You probably couldn't tame it, but you could probably ride it for wherever it's going.
8 seconds.
You could probably hang on for 12.
Yeah. I know what you're thinking, Win, but you're probably going to want to go ahead and keep your eye on the Pegasus.
Don't worry. I know what we're here for.
I don't have a token for beetle. I just have a token for swarm of beetles.
Oh boy, I don't think I want to encounter a swarm of giant rideable beetles.
Parties love swarms of things, right?
Yeah, let's move along and not find out if we can be crushed as easily as a soda can.
Like, you can ride it Win for a bit, but eventually it will like divert away from where you're supposed to be going.
And find her like, be like, hey, what's going on with this moss?
I like how you directed your attention to the moss and not the blue glowing rock.
Yeah, I thought you said the moss like instantly grew back over it.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah, well, yeah.
Fair enough. You examine the moss, and the moss is like sticky, still wet. It feels like a good rain just happened. Well, you literally saw it not raining, so that's not technically possible. What do you do?
Alright, what happens if I try to like do what the beetle did and like peel some off?
You begin to peel some off, and it begins to like cake in your hands. It's very gooey and like gross. Underneath you do. Yes.
What was glowing again?
The rock underneath the moss. Like the little grooves and etches and like cracks in the rock were glowing blue.
Are there any more rocks like that?
You saw like the beetle get some of the moss from a variety of rocks, and now that you think about it, all of them were glowing. There's like 3 around you currently.
Can I check why these rocks are glowing?
Sure, Finder and Win, you're both doing the same thing, so roll Arcana.
Allow me to offer my expert guidance.
Don't give it to Finder, you give it to somebody else.
I was going to say, can I give him advantage?
Sure.
Well, I'm going to cast on Finder anyway, because I figured that Finn was probably going to allow the Korai to guide Win.
I need all the help I can get, apparently.
There you go.
That's better.
And
Okay.
don't forget your D4. That's a pretty low roll.
Yeah, let's fix that up. 26.
Yeah. As you're both moving the rocks and examining a few things, you can tell that the rocks themselves are not magical, but they are in line with something magical. Looking through the actual crevice of the thing, they are communing in a way to nature as like a druid or a very, very embodied creature of nature would. I'm talking like the The best way I can describe it is, you know, the creatures that can like cast magic or like can shoot fire from their breath, but it's not technically classified as magical. The
Oh,
rock
like
is,
the fire breathing owl bear?
yeah, like that. The rock is kind of doing the same thing, just not like doing anything. It's just collectively making more moss and having it grow quickly, or like causing the foundation around it to like develop in a different way. Both.
I wonder if I can tap into this energy.
You think it's like ley lines? Or is it...
Oh, possibly, since the rocks themselves aren't magical, but
Well,
the connection to the land is.
Yeah, they themselves might not be magical, but perhaps their ability to attune is unique. Perhaps maybe you'd like to take a small sample of moss back home to see if you could cultivate it?
I think the stones are creating the moss. I don't think the moss is magical itself. I think
26,
that
yeah.
I think that if the stones may be attuned to certain magical frequencies, but I think that there is a powerful energy in the land itself that is making the stones react like this.
So it's either the place or the pattern or the rocks are special. In some way to tap into this power.
Yeah, so I am thinking maybe I can also tap into this energy. Or at least try to.
Well, you're the one who's going to have to convince the owlbear to wait.
Just out of curiosity, does this rock look like normal rock other than the glowing, or is it more crystalline in nature?
It looks like a standard rock, at least on the outside. Do you want to like break one open and find out?
No, I don't want to be destroying the particularly magical part of nature.
Fair.
Wow, welcome to Fern Gully. Here's an axe.
Well, if it requires either a nature or arcana check of some sort, I'd be able to assist them in whatever she's attempting.
In this case, it would be close to a nature check. However, you could also do other things. Like if your class has certain abilities that you could do that I'm fully not remembering, or I may or may not be hinting at, you can for sure do that and potentially auto succeed.
Sneak attack.
Or auto fail.
Can I try to commune with the land?
Oh. Speech of the woods.
Well, this ability gives me a little leeway into such things.
I mean, you know Sylvan, but which I guess is all about
more for communicating with plants or something like that.
Ooh, wait. Okay.
You talk to the moss, and it's immediately, why did you pull me off? Oh God, the pain!
You have speak with plants. I could also do that.
Speak with with plants. What level is that?
Third level spell.
That's mucho expensivo.
Yeah, I will say speak with woods. Ironically enough, won't auto succeed, but it will help you.
So you talking to this moss?
And the moss that's named Kate.
Well, that or the plants, the flowers, the trees.
The trees have probably been around a while. Seen some shit.
Yeah, and the reefs go, deep and wide, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's really hard to hear or perceive things from the roots. No.
Alright, so yeah, let's try to find the two.
I can give you some core eye guidance, and if the dogma thinks it's okay, I can assist with nature.
You can for sure give the guidance. Someone else would have to assist with nature.
Okay.
Maybe you should offer the. Maybe you should do the nature thing, and I'll offer my expert guidance.
Alrighty. Yeah, I've got a +6 in nature, so I can definitely help there. And then,
Dogma, should I go into a Guardian of Nature? Should I cast a spell Guardian of Nature too, or nah?
No, I think you're good with the two. Speak with woods and speak with plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
This avatar of the woods, like, defender appears before this little piece of moss.
Yeah, don't necessarily worry about the roll. But go ahead and add on the D4. Okay.
Fucking shatty.
This is more or less how clear the plants would be. Because you can commune and you can connect, but the roll is mainly like how much information you get with the plants around you, or like how aware of the plants are. A 9 is still good, don't get me wrong. For sure, other numbers could have been better, but it's not a 1 or a 2. But casting your spell, speaking with plants, and using commune with nature and the assistance from your allies, you're able to hone in and clear your mind into the perception of the plants and animals around you. As you commune with nature, you do feel the moss like near the bedrock of where the sticking stone is at, and you begin to hear like small whispers of voices into like more or less cute little voices. They're not the most mature. You can tell that the plants and animals around this area are mature. Like the most active to greet you are like little moss patches that have been newly grown. The moss it feels like it's looking towards you. I can't exactly say it's looking towards you. It looks north.
Attention.
It is acknowledging my presence.
Yeah. And in a tone, I guess I'm going to speak in the mossy tone, does state, hello? Yes?
Hello there, friend. I was wondering, what is up with the magical energies around this place?
Oh, the nectar. It like my mom said, it infuses us and helps us grow.
You haven't seen her lately, have you?
How can I tap into that or acquire that?
Well, you feel like it's whispering to something, and then like responds to you and does say, Mom says like the things around it eats the nectar around it and it infuses into its body.
I don't think I'm going to get much more of this thing. All right. Thank you. Where is this nectar? Is it just all around?
A slight like whisper of something, and then like connects with you. Mom says it's like around, very deep in the ground, and like the rock is part of it.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't think I'm getting any more.
So from what you can tell, and just to make it clear, because you more or less spoke to a child that is speaking to other things, that is speaking again to you. The rock itself is connected to something else, something deep underground. It could be a ley line, like Finder suggested, or it could be like something far away that is like seeping into the ground that the rock, in its own like structure, is able to tap into. The things around it that grow around it are able to tap into the rock's energy, or the nectar, as the moss child said, and they're able to adapt it into themselves and imbue the energy into themselves, which likely allows it to like rapidly grow.
I smell Final Fantasy style crystals.
That being said, though, when with this amount of energy, you can for sure tell if things are part herbivore, not herbivore. If things eat plants as well, such as, let's say, an owlbear or other things, they could potentially like imbue it into their bodies over a good amount of time, and then selectively, through potential generations or potions. Like if someone made a potions out of them, things could adapt to have new things, which might explain the red owlbear.
I feel like ever since I told you the only tools I'm not proficient in were alchemist tools, it's thrown at my face a lot.
Well, get studying.
Apparently.
As an artificer, why would you not pick them like first or second?
Like, on the show of hands, he wants to rest here so Cassidy can, rest up for at least an hour before we head on, because we don't know what's gonna be, on the road.
I thought we got the horse so she could walk,
Do
and then we could
you
take the
really
deep.
think her resting on a horse is proper resting?
I think she's probably in a hurry to be back to her home city.
We used to have, like, she's more or less paying attention to this conversation, but she's more or less wearily saying, because she is resting, kind of, we still have like a couple days. If we like squat down here for like an hour, I think it'll be fine.
Okay, who's going to take care of the owlbear? Because I'm not.
The owlbear can take care of itself. Basically, like, it'll still be around us because, it's kind of like a pack mentality right now.
Because it's not concerned with the safety of its cubs that you were talking about?
I mean, it is, but it's more or less this. It hasn't been tamed, but it has like been calmed, due to wind, I believe.
Well, how far away is this thing's nest anyway?
From
An
this,
hour away from our destination. So it's still gonna take a few days to get there.
yeah.
in preparations, I'll go ahead and pull out a couple of my rations and kind of set them down at the edge of what area we're kind of in right now, and just kind of let the owlbear approach to have a snack, maybe sit down and get ready.
For goodness sake, you don't domesticate it, you fools. The next time hunters come by, they'll think they are friendly.
I
Oh,
doubt
I think the other team has disavowed it of that idea.
Yeah.
So you guys rest up over here. I'm gonna rest up over here, and I start like going to the rock area to like settle down and meditate and try to connect to this energy.
You're gonna have to eat about 5 years worth of vegetation.
Well, if your planned method is meditation, perhaps I can help you. I am rather skilled.
It's not really meditation. It's just me trying to commune to the earth itself and try to connect to the frequency of the magic in this area.
Of course. Don't mean to disturb.
It's okay. Basically, I'm just trying to attune to this area's energy.
Win wants a power up.
Hey, I'm taking what I can get. So if I can pull this off, then fuck it. You don't dangle a carrot in front of me and not expect me to try to nip it.
Hey, I was dangling a different kind of carrot. If you're trying to go for the entire farm, Win, I ain't gonna stop you. While Win's doing that, let's say what Jimmy's doing.
Oh man, I am like trying to resist the urge to just go ahead and mimic what Wynn's doing. I mean, not trying to seriously do anything, but just from Jimmy's perspective, this is a little bit of a random thing where, we're trying to foil an assassination plot and travel another city and escort this owlbear back to its babies, but shiny.
Yeah.
I mean, more or less random for your current mission, but also not random because plot points in story and world have been placed a long time ago.
Alrighty. Well, I need to think a little bit. We can skip to somebody else first.
Finn, what are you doing?
Finn will go ahead and get a little bit of practice in. Not actually activating it, but he will be sitting there with taking motions with his new hilt and using telekinesis to spin it out and spin it back and, rotate it around himself and, raise rocks and spin them around me. The whole...
You're doing the Jedi version of that scene from Lawrence of Arabia where he looks at himself and the dagger.
I'm drawing a blank on that one right now, but I guess so.
It's when he first gets his white robes and his chic dagger, and he's like, "Oh, I can see myself in my." Anyway, it's very much like a "look at who I am now" scene.
Oh, no, I am definitely just trying to hone my skills.
Yeah. As you do so, honing and sharpening your skills, you can tell that this feels right. While the blade itself is from another, the core eye, the essence, the presence is still there, is still visible. Connecting, communing to the blade and moving it as one. Finn, I want you to go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Oh no, his brain's about to explode.
and I want to succeed, correct?
I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. But I'm also going to not I'm also going to tell you that if you fail, your brain isn't going to explode.
Okay.
Oh,
I would like to try and re-roll that.
Sure.
Okay. Second. Click down. Re-roll.
oh no.
You're fucking kidding.
just
Is-
because
are
I
you
want to see if
perhaps-
you get another 7, roll again.
I
Excellent.
want to. If
Let's
you're
get
not
a
telling
slot
us if
machine
he
jackpot.
succeeds or fails, right? And who
What's that?
knows? But Finn, are you within 30 feet of me?
You wouldn't be
I-
far.
Yeah, I wouldn't be far.
Oops, hang on. Okay, click correctly. You want a spicy +5?
Yes, please. All right, third chance. 12 plus 5. And 2 of my
Oh.
chances.
I think the advantage was still 7.
It's
but...
still 7. I just wanted to see if you get another 7.
So you do get 12. That's okay. No, but that's total.
Yeah.
Oh, no, actually, I got to re-roll, so that 12 is there.
When you
mean,
re-rolled, that was the second 7. I wanted to see with the 12 if you'd get another 7, but we would still
7,
count the
yeah.
7.
The slot machine
Okay.
joke.
Yes.
Oh, okay, because, I mean, all right, that works.
Yeah. Again, if you fail or not, your head doesn't explode. But as you're communing, connecting with things around you, hovering. Oh, are you using lucky again?
No, that's why I was able to re-roll and count it.
Yeah. As you're communing, hovering the blade around you and like connecting with things around you, you feel a wave in the air, something weird happening. As you steady your brain, fearing or hoping it's not something bad, but steadying your mind to make sure if it's something immediately terrible, keeping a good guard up, you get a flash of like red crimson in the air, and you realize, no, not crimson, just red. A red strand of hair like blowing through the wind, and you get a glimpse of some other individual in like brownish robes, so not mimicking the same moves, but doing the same practices with the blade you hold in hand. It is not you, but it is potentially the one before you that held onto this blade. And then in another instant, that potential shard of memory is gone.
I doubt I picked up much, but if I could incorporate whatever movements I saw this memory doing, if I can incorporate them into my movements as I continue to practice.
Yeah. And Finder, what are you doing?
I suppose I'd be trading eye rolls with Jemmy while I make some alchemist fucking tools. And then proceed, if there's any leftover time, to like make fucking moss smoothies for me and Jemmy, because we're probably poison resistant.
Yeah. When you make your tools, do you have to get rid of another thing?
No, they're not technically magic, but they're like created by magic.
Yeah, I know
So-
that part. I just
Yeah.
don't know if it's like the.
I'm not proficient in them. I just have them.
Yeah. Okay, just making sure. As you're making them and like crafting them, Raven does look towards you, as you finish them and like begin to shake moss smoothies. Raven does look towards you and says, "Oh, fascinating. You're gonna want to actually put that fire into a lower temperature, but overall, the general premise is there."
Yeah, I poke my magical alembic. That's a potion thing, right? I think that's where you hold the fire.
I believe so.
Any any tips would be greatly appreciated. I am hardly even a journeyman with these tools.
Oh, sure. Along the way, I can teach you what I know. Perhaps gain you some knowledge based on it.
That would be most appreciated.
Of course. Again, wizards here and there have to learn a thing or two about like alchemy and things of that nature. So these are things I know.
He like pulls out his own alchemy kit and is like, this would have been helpful.
I don't travel with my alchemist kit.
Okay.
They're a little potentially breakable.
And like Finder did create like an alchemist kit. He's got, like flasks and glass vials and shit. He's just like, you don't have to worry about dropping these. I can just create new ones.
Fair enough. He begins to like help you discern a few things here and there, and like more than likely by the time you reach I was about to call it Ascara, Arcadia, you will be proficient in our alchemist tools.
All right. Literally a jack of all the trades.
Yeah. But while you're making moss smoothies, Jemmy, and then we'll get to Wednesday.
I'll go and check with Cassidy, and is she actually already fast asleep?
She's more or less resting beside a rock. She is like essentially rested. She just needs to finish the last 30 minutes.
Ah, okay.
But she is conscious.
So how are you doing? Feeling comfortable?
Yeah, just finishing up. Sorry for the delay.
Oh, no worries. If you need anything, myself or my assistants will be happy to help you.
Yeah, I think I'll be fine. I think Finder's making smoothies for people.
Yeah. Manually grinding in a mortar and pestle.
Oh, go ahead.
She was just gonna say, but other than the morning smoothie, I think I'm good.
Well, I never pegged him to be a barista, but he's full of surprises.
Fair enough.
All right. I'll go check on Ray as well. How are you doing?
You see them like sharpening their blades, looking around to perceive if any dangers in the area. Good, more or less. Just checking to see how everyone's recovering while Cassidy is resting and Wynn is seemingly becoming part of the world. Meditating, I believe is what she called it.
I have to admit, this is one of the stranger trips I've been on.
Well, well, we are diverting our path. It's not by much, so things are about to happen.
Well, I suppose we'll have to cross off traveling with an owlbear off my bingo card.
Quite true, and a rare one at that. Didn't know they came in red.
Oh, as long as it's not breathing out of this, I guess I can't ask for much more.
And as you're saying that, it is like breathing like hot little embers on the rations Finn gave it, and then like begins to eat it.
Alrighty. I suppose that thing can understand us at all, can it?
As far as I'm aware, no. Unless you can speak with animals, much like Miss Wynn.
Oh, I think I can only speak with animals the way most people do. You know, the whole, who's a good boy?
Fair enough.
Probably not going to get too far doing that.
I would imagine no.
So out of curiosity, I haven't really...
Especially because it's a girl.
haven't I haven't had much conversation with Raven. What's her story?
Raven's a fine enough individual. Spellcaster joined the military roughly 2 years ago. In what's it called? When a member of the family of higher ups joins it for, like the whole prestige of things, like, oh, our family continues to service the king and kingdom, something like that. That's how I joined as well. They're a bit younger than me, but other than that, good enough individual. Casts a good amount of spells that I'm not aware of. Fine enough guy.
Yeah. I have to say, it does seem like your group knows how to pick skilled individuals.
I would hope so. Both he and I were placed here at the request of our higher ups.
Well, hopefully they weren't trying to punish you, heading up, forcing you to shack up with a group like us.
Well, I highly doubt they expected your team. If I'm going to be perfectly frank with you, the council is the ones that assigned us to Miss Cassidy. And that's just how things went about.
Well, I'm definitely eager to see the city come from. Sounds like quite the novel change of pace. Break out some of the lighter colors in my wardrobe.
Quite true. That being said, if any of your team is height scared, I forgot the word for it. Have a sense of vertigo at the very least, I would caution not getting near the rim of the city. It can be very daunting.
Well, we've all already had to have our encounters with heights under very less than optimal conditions. I think we'll manage. But I will accept the wisdom of staying away from the edges.
Please do. Well, we don't get to many visitors. Those that do come up generally lose their shit when they look downwards.
Well, they learned that maybe there's no rush to leave.
Fair enough.
The faster you leave, the sooner you're not coming back.
Too true.
Okay, well, I'll not interrupt you anymore here. Obviously, we're, pardon the pun, not out of the woods yet.
Quite right.
Yeah. So I'll go kind of step off on my own and just kind of inspect this crystal that I got.
Yeah, more on that later. When communing into the world, honing and focusing things. Thank you. Communing and honing to things, you begin to meditate into trying to, best way I can describe it, imbibe in the power around you. To tap into it will be a feat on its own. To tap into it and draw and absorb power into it will be a secondary thing. But we will get to that when we get to it. When I would want you to make a wisdom-based check. I can assign a check for you, or you can, if you'd like, tell me a check you would think you would use, or a skill you would use to try to connect with the world around you.
And at what point does the very helpful smoothie arrive?
Hey, you said you were only making a smoothie for Jemmy and yourself.
Oh, he was apparently making it for you. Made it sound like. Anyway, it takes an hour to summon the tools. So.
I am only joking, Finder. Cassidy was just making like a lighthearted joke. Oh, and Finder's making smoothies for everyone, I think. But if you want to make smoothies for everyone, you can for sure can.
Jemmy walked out on me. Apparently now I'm just grinding herbs in a bowl. It's Wynn's thing. I'm sorry.
Probably survival, if not nature.
Yeah.
Seem to be the most logical to use. Survival is my highest score at 8, and nature is at 4, though.
Yeah, like for sure, an instinctive feeling of surviving, communing, connecting with the world. There's a whole bunch of things you can do with survival. Like,
Oh, Wynn.
Go ahead.
You seem to be kind of deep in thought there. You needing some help with something.
Just trying to connect with the earth itself.
Well, I'm always offering expert guidance, but I don't know. Depending on what you're trying to do, I might have something else I can offer you. Perhaps I could enhance an ability for you. It can be advantageous when you're trying to focus on certain types of things.
Darn it. I'm losing concentration now.
Let me see something here.
I guess now I'm getting mixed up in thoughts. Dogma?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying about during survival. Sorry.
It's all good. With survival, you can for sure connect with the world. So we can for sure use that one because, like, survival, it's an instinctive thing of what to do next, what type of movement, and for sure, the forest and living in it would require that.
All right. So yeah, I guess if you can make me more wise, that would be great.
I could, in a manner of speaking. I've got just the thing here. I'm gonna go ahead and. You did say more wise, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and cast Owl's Wisdom on Wynn, which will grant
Give me
advantage on wisdom checks. Yep.
Very nice.
Let's see. I can't grant guidance as well because that's also concentration.
Can the Cora give me a little something?
The Korra is dancing. Well, training, but dancing.
Well,
I'll walk over to
if
Finn.
you get my attention. Yes.
So, Finn, just someone over there might be in need of some Korai guidance.
Absolutely. I thought you didn't want to be disturbed. I go over there.
Clearly see
It's
Jemmy already
hardly a
disturbed.
disturbance.
Well, he didn't, but here we are.
May the Korai guide you.
Thank you.
Now everyone out.
Yes,
While Blender's going in the background as Finders makes a smoothie, Jemmy is like making bird sounds similar to an owl's to give you advantage, and Finn is the most quiet out of the three, but it's still making some noise. Somehow this helps Wynn concentrate. $21 and the 223. Okay.
Hopefully I pass. Hopefully I did good.
Oh,
Hopefully.
it is a pretty good score.
As you commune with the very nature around you, as things begin to grow around you, as people begin to seep into the ground. No, that's not right. That's not here. As you begin to focus in on the world itself, you begin to see people running around, playing, dancing. No, that's not right either. You begin to hone in on the skills you have, hone in with the help of your allies, your friends, your associates, whatever you want to call them, the people around you helping you, guiding you, while you use your own strengths to fully focus. You begin to try to commune with the ground, with the trees, with the air, with the core of this energy. But everything in itself begins to develop and grow in your mind. Thoughts begin to race, things begin to grow and glow. But things aren't focusing in. Something is happening. You are communing with the world itself, but you are not focused in on the point you need. But eventually, and soon enough, you are able to crack out of all of this, all of these distractions, out of everything around you. It's as if you hit the ground and you are sinking into a bottomless pit. And when you look up, there is a web of various things, of a blue light shining around you, enveloping various places within the forest you see, but you feel like you're underground. These connections, these pools are this current is coming from a place farther north than you're currently at, and this is just a route where it has taken place in and from. The rocks around you seem to be not just rocks. For sure they are rock coated, but something underneath, something in the rocks themselves, were part of something grander. You try and commune with these things, and it is vast. You see an array of multiple things, some larger, some bigger than the other things. But this is a puzzle that has been broken ages ago. Do you try and fuse some of this energy into your body, into your core, to try to create something out of it?
Who will drink of the nectar?
Sure, let me drink of the nectar.
Surprise! It's really a moth smoothie.
Mountain Dew Blue Rush.
Oh, gross.
Okay.
Alright, you know what? I came this far. Let's continue. Let's do this.
Okay. As you see this massive web in the forest, connected to something very large in the north, you grab for one of the strands as you try to focus in and harness some of the strength. You cannot harness it all, because that would literally, I don't know, as Jemmy put it, explode your brain.
Your mortal
But you might be able to get some of it. Again, this would require something akin to wisdom. It cannot be fixated on anything other than what you have now, because this is a momentary glance that you see, and in that moment you grab onto it. If Jemmy's owl wisdom still affects you, you for sure can still have advantage.
Yeah, it's good for an hour.
Cool, still good. However, Finn cannot give you another guidance.
Alright, so do I roll survival again, or is it just attack?
This would be
Check
survival, because your body is trying to survive this energy that is going into it. The root core of the energy... Go ahead.
Do I get a bonus?
No. Though, I'm not saying you failed or anything. I'm just saying you don't get a bonus.
But what happens next?
The root core of the energy you cannot grab onto. So you grab one of the branches. As the branch gets grabbed, you feel the energy just rush into your body. It hurts. It is painful. It's as if you filled a glass of water and you keep filling it and it's spilling over. It is causing pain and it is rupturing into your frame of body. It is not the energy that you can sustain right now in your current form. You still need to grow, you still need to develop, but it is binding into you as you're holding on to it. At a certain moment in time, you have to let go. Your instinctive thoughts press you to let go. And in this momentary glance, you let go. You have something in your hand as you let go. And as you awaken from your meditation, for Jemmy and Finn, it was like 3 seconds of like quiet. And in Finn, you like gasp for air as it feels like it's been an eternity waking up. When you do have something, you were able to cling on to something. It isn't something, I don't know, like you can shoot beams out of your hands now. Unfortunately, the check you had did not do that. Not saying that would happen, but not saying it couldn't.
Like, I'm not saying you didn't get a 20, but...
It's just what happened, what's in my hand.
As you look towards your hand, you feel, and then you look at it, and you see rivulets of blue light coursing on the palm of your hand, akin to a tree sprouting. You now have the mark of the tree on your palm. You don't technically know what that is, but you have something.
Mark of the tree. Come on, mark of the silver fire trees. Work with this stuff.
Alright, so Wynn's going to rest her back against the stone and just...
Honestly, you've taken your first steps to being able to cast light.
What?
You weren't physically damaged by that, were you?
I don't think so. Like, I did tap into the, I guess it was the ley lines or a nexus. It was like a spider web of energy or like roots of a tree spreading far and wide. But there's something, it feels like it was coming from the north originally, but it overwhelmed me.
Well, maybe next time. It's not always easy. There are places of power where energy from the material planes, intersect. Perhaps you'll be better equipped the next time you attempt such a feat to.
I guess I can always try again on our way back, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know the place.
One of her eyes is like super bloodshot.
I mean, yes,
Well,
for
yeah.
sure.
Well, that's why I was saying if she took any physical damage, I can just go ahead.
She didn't roll low enough to like cause actual pain. It's just like a lot. You are almost exhausted.
Okay.
Good seeing we're all rested up. Let's have a smoothie and go. No.
Again, Finder, you can make smoothies for everyone if you want.
Yeah, did I not? Do you want me to roll for that or something?
Yeah, roll for me 1d8. See how many smoothies you make. I'll add a +2. So if you roll low, you at least have 2. 6.
I got 6. That is...
Someone doesn't get a smoothie. I guess one gets like half of a smoothie.
Cassidy and Ray can share because, yeah.
my
Just
thank
put
you,
two
Finder.
straws in there.
Yeah.
My thank you, Finder. I will.
I'm. Oh god. It's basically just wait for everyone to take a drink and just be like, it's basically just a mashed moss. The forest within and without, right?
Finn will go ahead and take a sip first to see how good it tastes.
Oh, it's
or
gross.
not. Gross.
It does
All right,
invigorate
as
you,
soon as-
but it's gross.
As soon as I get that first taste of it being gross, I will kind of turn to the side a little bit, and thanking Finder for the drink, turn to the side a little bit, and cast prestidigitation on Win and my drinks to try and make them taste better. If I can try and do that subtly.
And Wynn's just looking at it and looking towards the area where he got the moss. Was it the moss she was talking to earlier?
No, the moss you were talking to is like at the bed of the rock. It's like on the ground versus where Finder got it, which was like on the rock itself.
I got that new moss.
Um,
That slimy moss.
I think I'm going to pass. I was literally talking to the moss just a moment ago. It just seems kind of wrong.
If you have a moral obligation to not eat plants as well as animals, I do not know what to offer you.
Well, it's not that I don't want to eat plants or animals. Animals themselves eat other animals, and plants feed off of other creatures as well. But I was literally talking to the moss over there just a minute ago.
Fair enough, but if you truly value the life, I mean, it was dead the moment I pulled it up, so might as well nourish yourself. If you don't want it, then slam mine back.
Like when you can like put it in a potion bottle, technically, and drink it later. But what I'm asking specifically, who downs it immediately, other than Finder?
No one's hand goes up at all. All right.
Finn already
I'm gonna try it.
Finn already took a sip. He'll go ahead and finish it.
Yeah, I guess Wynn wouldn't want to, leave the waste of this behind. It's like, he already harvested it, and it'll be, a waste to just leave it. So I guess she'll. Cheers. And down it.
It might not taste great, but it is decidedly not as bad as that first sip that Finn had.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you made it taste better.
The smell is awful, but the taste is good. One of the factory notes are bad. And Jamie, what about you?
I guess after having seen what other people try it, I'll go ahead and take a sip.
It tastes awful.
Oh, seems to be lacking in the alcohol department.
Okay.
Yeah, did not have time. That's the next project, actually. Like packing some moss.
Finder, Raven, Cassie would only take a sip, and say Ray, you can have the rest. Ray, Finn, and Win all roll con saves.
Do I have advantage or no?
I would say disadvantage, but I'll say you even out.
What are these smoothies being served in?
Alchemy, like beakers and or vials.
Ah.
It's not poison. It is a con save though, Finder, so you do need to roll.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I will point out you didn't make me or Raven roll for any of this, and he was helping me.
Yeah. I just had it auto succeed because Raven was helping you.
Constitution.
Okay. No one fails, but I'll tell you what happens. Oh, it is awful. It is gross. Even though it tastes good, your body knows that it's like consuming, like moss essentially, and like some other things to give it some nutrition. Other than just moss. I'm sure there's nutrition in moss. I just don't know it off the top of my head.
Actually, both a favorite. Is a favorite meal of both deer and moose. I love it.
Cool. At any rate, it is gross. It almost causes you to regurgitate it back up, but you stomach it down. So what benefit you get is this. You do get 5 temporary HP, and you get something known as a elemental charge. That doesn't mean you know what that is per se, but you feel like something in your body is like revitalized.
Okay. Interesting. Had anyone a spell slot that it expended? How do they feel about that?
Fair enough. Win. You feel like there's a potential chance to like recuperate your magic before you take a long rest. I'm not saying it'll auto succeed, but here's the general premise of the elemental spark. You need to make an Arcana check. DC to beat for your specific spell slot would be 10 plus the spell level plus 1.
So 11 plus the spell level?
I guess it'd be the easier thing to do.
Alright, screw it, I'll try. I got a spell slot down.
I sense that it has granted me the ability to restore an expended cantrip slot.
Yes.
Well, you did use that enhancement spell. That's a leveled spell.
Yeah, and it was Arcana, you say?
Arcana, yeah.
Yeah, but I only took a sip, so I was joking about something very small and inconsequential.
I'm going to save this elemental charge.
Go for it. The charge
Wait, does it last for... Okay, yeah.
doesn't last forever. And you cannot like stack up on it. If you fail, it like goes away. And the potion does last. Essentially, the potion, upon making and consuming, does last for 4 hours.
Yeah, I'll restore a first level spell. Done.
Yeah.
Alright, I guess I'll just use it.
With that information, though, you can definitely like collect some of the plants around here. It doesn't have to be the moss wind. It doesn't have to be the moss.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I'll collect some samples.
Yeah, and that's what the carrot that I was dangling in front of you, not the a lot of energy in the ground that whatever these rocks are.
Oh, sorry. When you said you weren't dangling a carrot but something else, my mind went completely somewhere else.
When?
What?
That was my first thought. As soon as you said, like, there's these things eating the vegetation, it makes magic. It's like jangling a carrot, the things that they eat. Maybe we should just collect some mushrooms.
But yeah, so I'll be collecting a bunch of stuff actually from this area.
There's like some berries, some bushes, some small little plants here and there, some herbs, all infused with this energy from the weird rock things. That when you know they're not just rocks. For sure, there's like something inside them that makes them air quotes special. So Jemmy wasn't wrong, but whether or not you just tried to break them, I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's a good idea, though.
Yeah, I can try and crack some open,
So-
but the ancient ley lines seem a terrible thing to mar.
Yeah, so don't Don't fuck with the giant glowing rocks. Got it. Is there a small travel size like rock?
The smallest travel size rock you see is about the size of... Who's the shortest person here? I'm going to say Jemmy.
Damn.
He's stout.
At least for the record, I think I'm about 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
Still a big rock.
I could technically fit it in my bag.
Could you? Does a bag of holding 4 feet?
I know it stretches a good amount. I just don't know if it's 4 feet.
I think that's a bit
Well, it's like
excessive.
4 feet tall. Does it? You didn't say, 4 feet wide.
That's true. I'm gonna roll a d20 and let fate decide. 10 and above, it's thinner than 5 feet. Below 10, so 9 and below, it's too big. Here we go. It's too big.
Fucking bullshit.
Is there? I mean, are there any irregularities on the rock? Can it perhaps be cracked without destroying it?
Do you not want to? How do you crack something without destroying it?
Are you talking about like chipping it, Finn?
Yeah, I think he means like chip at the side.
Well,
Since it's
some
right
rocks have
there
faults.
at the end.
Some rocks have faults in them, so if one good strike in the right place could literally just cut the rock in half. I mean, that's how they quarry for marble.
Yeah.
Okay. So, from a logistical standpoint here, is it a standing stone? Yes, it's 8 feet tall now. So it's certainly...
like one's like the smallest one is 5 feet wide and like let's say 6 feet tall. They're too big to essentially carry, but you could potentially, as Finn suggested, chip some of them.
In either case, if we're going to fit it into a bag of holding, we would have to in some way move or scoot the bag closed around this 200-ton rock. Not 220-ton rock. It's very heavy.
We might not now be prepared to take this, but who knows, with stuff we can find in the floating city, or maybe a quick trip back to Section 9, we could easily come back here prepared to take one full rock and have a place to put it when we get back to Haven.
I can do it.
Enlighten us, Win.
No, out of character. I can do it. I'm not using one choice. I can do it. Stone shape.
Okay.
It's not cracking the stone in any way. It's basically forming it like if it was putty.
So you can literally just mold a 1 foot by 1 foot chunk off with the largest amount of glowing on it and just take it.
Well, that or just squish it a little bit.
Finder's gonna be far away if this happens.
It's like I even can squish it a little bit or turn into a fucking weapon or an idol.
Yeah,
it's like
squish
I
the
can
magical crystal.
It's like I can literally reshape 5 feet of stone.
So you would just have to make it a taller, skinnier pillar. That way it can fit into the bag's aperture.
Okay, how about this, Adagma? Finder is not only proficient, but he has expertise in any set of tools that he's proficient with, and guess what he's proficient with? Stonemason's tools. Do I think this is a terrible idea?
You do believe with the amount of energy it has coursing through it, there will be a large buyback price to pay. When could, with stone shape, theoretically shape it and transform it into whatever, like, thing that they want, but with that amount of energy coursing through it, there would for sure be consequences.
Okay, this right here, with all the glowing, is that are you familiar with dynamite? Explosions? There is a vast amount of energy in here, and if you crack it, even if you're shaping it, if you separate it, the cracking or separating is likely to release a lot of energy.
Perhaps my original plan was best. I understand your
No,
enthusiasm, but we can come
I-
back
I-
prepared.
I think even that, yeah, I think we're gonna just come back to this another time when we have the need to just transport the whole thing.
Oh, never mind. Well, wait, because yeah, I just realized the reshaping it thing probably isn't going to work if a bag of holding can only hold 500 pounds. You'd have to take a piece of it off.
Yeah,
That does
I have
sound
another
problematic.
idea. I do have another idea, but we need to prepare for that. So I know we can come back and do it.
We'll put this one on the books for later, and perhaps one day we will move through this forest.
Perhaps.
Sorry.
But just to ask, Finn, what was your idea?
My idea was to go back to, finish our stuff in Cloud City, get back to Haven, go to her parents' place, make sure that we have a space to put this big rock in her garden or wherever, so that she can, have it greenhoused, encased and everything, just to make sure. Then we pop on over to Section 9 and borrow temporarily a portable hole. 10 foot wide, 10 foot deep, just flap it over the top like a blanket, gather it up, and the whole thing comes with us.
Interesting. I'll have to think that one over, because that could potentially work, but ramifications are still ramifications, and I need to make sure it's fair and not just against you.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, the portable hole is more than large enough. It's much larger than the bag of holding.
That's not what I'm saying.
Will hold more, and you wouldn't have to break it at all.
Yeah, but I think the idea is that you can put things like a lithium-ion battery in a microwave; it'll fit, but it's not necessarily a good idea.
Okay, here's another question, and this one is not practical. How big is this stone as compared to a living creature?
5 foot by 6 foot.
So that would count as a medium creature?
Sure.
I mean, a 5 foot by 6
pick it
foot
up.
creature, that's at least large. Come on.
All right, large. I can still pick up a large object, but I'm moving it 1 minute at a time. So it's not necessarily practical, and I could be very, very tired at the end of the day.
What's the weight limit, if there's a weight limit?
There is no weight limit. It's just a creature of huge or smaller.
What
Not a creature.
thing is it?
Oh, hold on. Come on.
Not a creature.
It is not a creature, yes, but I just want to know what it is.
It's my Psy Warrior's telekinetic movement feat. It's the large one for Psy Warrior. It's the big, pick up a big object. Hold on, let me get back to my computer.
But we are all on the same page about this is something we're going to do later.
Yes.
Yep, okay. I made a note, so you for sure will get back to this.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, Finn, you're all good. You're good. I'm just saying you made notes.
Because don't get me wrong, I mean, trying to transport the thing all the way to the flying city and then transport it from the Flying City back to Haven. It might be easier just on the way back, but
Just set up a teleportation circle, like cast enlarge reduce on it, pop it in there for 10 minutes, pop it out. But I also don't think we should bring a literal fucking nitroglycerin crystal bomb back to the city.
okay, large or smaller. So yeah, large would work.
It also has to be loose, so it can't be embedded in the ground.
Well, it can't be attached in the ground. Yeah, it has to be something we could roll or move.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest problem is only being able to do that once per short or long rest.
I can do it more, but I have to expend psychic points, and I have a handful of psychic points to spend. But like I said, it would be incredibly inefficient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This,
but I mean,
if I could just pick, but the point is, if I could just pick it up, then I can pick it up and gently place it into a bag of holding, or heck, if we went the old-fashioned route, we could even just bring back 2 horses and a cart.
But in the meantime, we are going to the city of Avalon in the clouds.
Yes.
And the boulder is not a good arrival gift. I think I'll make more smoothies.
Okay.
Greetings, fellow people of Arcadia. We bring you a large amount of ballast.
Yeah. When in Finder, you guys collect some plants that you wouldn't know and be aware of. Raven helps out Finder because alchemy.
We made friends.
Yeah, and together, not together, separately, total, you both have like 8 samples that could be turned into potions / smoothies, I guess, because smoothies are a thing now.
Oh.
That was the most confusing. We have 8 each or 8
Each.
together. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, because I wanted to grab a bunch of things.
Give me 1 second. My headphones completely died.
Oh, even better.
I know, right?
Well, I've always thought about that because, like, if the bag of holding is a vacuum, there's no air in there, right? It's pretty much just as good.
A bag of holding does have air. If a person got put in a bag of holding, they would be able to survive for up to 10 minutes, depending on how many people are put in. Yeah.
Okay.
So there is air in there, just not a lot. It's
More
like
accurate that it's airtight.
Yeah.
But
So you just got to deplete it one time. Anyway, go on, Adogma.
And although Adogma's headphones were cut down in their prime, they will always be remembered for their diligent and selfless service.
But yeah, I wanted to grab a bunch of samples because I have an idea of mixing some of these together with some of that pond water from earlier and see what happens with the mixture.
Yeah, well, I just said
soup?
8 for each of you because I thought that was a lot. But I guess since we're saying that, how many vials do you have to collect samples of?
I have my own shit because I have my herbalism kit and stuff like that, and I have my own vials.
The limiting factor is the pond water. I have 3 of them. And then I have the plants, but I only have 3 full, like, vials. Like, they were medical grade containers. So I have 3 of the forest potions. I don't know how much water you have left, Win.
I have a full water skin of the forest water, and around like 6 ocean bottles of the water as well.
Yeah, Finn has a full water skin of water too, and that's 5 pounds or 2.2 liters.
And
Yeah,
we still have 8 measures of. We have 16 measures of plants total, and it sounds like we have like, I don't know, if a water skin is 5 measures, let's say. We got about the same. We got enough for all that if you wanted to use it like that.
Okay, cool. Don't want to overly harvest thing. So, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems like we're all rested and supplied. Let's get going.
At this point in time, Cassidy is fully rested, so now you just have a horse alongside you, huh?
If we can get another horse and a sturdy cart, that's all we need to come back and move the rock.
The horse's name is Snickers now. No, I don't know. Twitch chat, vote for the name of the horse. No.
I'm pretty sure it's just me on Twitch. Anyways,
then you have this in the bag, dog.
I'll name it Poodles. As your companions are fully rested and as you get your vials fully collected, samples fully harvested, you are able to travel for the next day without any interruptions. Thanks to Jemmy casting their spell, you guys are a median at 21 stealth. Traversing, the last thing you see on this day is like this weird bird thing. The best way I can describe it is as if a toucan decided to become a T-Rex and then decided to forget to fly and is now on the ground. Do you interact with it?
Okay, toucan and T-Rex. What sort of size are we talking?
We're talking about a medium-sized creature, roughly 8 feet tall. Well, long, 5 feet tall. Razor-sharp teeth. Instead of wings, it has protruding bone-like structure that it can carve into things with.
It's a rainbow raptor.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
I mean, I feel like all of us probably just side-eye look at Wynn and be like, no.
If we don't have to fight it, the better, right?
It might be interesting, but one at a time. What if the owlbear and this thing don't like each other?
I don't see any benefit to collecting any more creatures along the way. We're just going to have to leave them behind once we go to Avalon.
Yeah. Wait, I think I missed the part. Is there anything wrong with this creature? Like, is it under attack or?
It's mean. It's just something you encounter. Like, you don't technically, like, are face to face with it. It's like in the woods, you notice it. You're super stealthy, so I'm just saying, like, the things you see in the forest for the day.
It doesn't notice us, but we see it, and we'll just be quiet and let it pass.
Yeah, it's like if we don't need to fight it, the better. It's just prowling around for food.
And then we all left.
So let's not be on the menu.
I agree. Let us go.
Yeah. As you do.
We can be raptor riders another day.
We could always have a death wish.
Yeah. But as you do see like noticed a different type of creature. It looks more or less akin. The other creature is, I want to say cheetah, but that's technically not correct.
Jaguar.
A forest animal that is not cheetah, but cheetah-like. This weird toucan dinosaur T-Rex thing pounces on it and nearly immediately breaks it apart is the way I'm going to describe it. So, yeah, if you don't need to fight it, why fight it? And by the end of this day, you do make it to the cold area.
Dislike the cold.
I did not expect for you guys to take on the. There we go. A horse and a owl bear, but here we are.
I thought, was the owl bear from the cold? I thought it was like we were going to be near the edge of the forest and be like, oh, you look, your cubs.
The owl bear is part of the cold. Well, kind of, technically. It migrated into the cold and is now living there. It like traveled far. Unfortunately for it, the poachers did, well, as poachers sometimes do, drive it to a location that it's not accustomed to. But it is close to home now. It does require another day to get to where it needs to be, though. So, as you're taking watch, rounding things out, at the end of the watches, you are very stealthy, but not going to make you roll for perception checks, because with that amount of stealth, you for sure can see things before they see you. So for the first watch, you guys do not notice anything in the wild. You make sure you're in a position where you don't need to cast a fire, but you're more or less in a cave. So the wind and the chill of the night don't kill you. But the first watch, no encounters. The second watch, you do feel something as if it's watching you. And whoever's taking second watch do notice like these weird bird things. Well, I shouldn't say weird bird things. They're owls, but they look off, as if they are possessed by something, is the best way I can describe it. Their vision and their views on you, while not directed towards you, feels as if they're looking straight through you. And the third watch, you do notice the owls are still there, but eventually they fly off to who knows where. If any of you wanted to interact with the owls, you for sure can, I guess. I would say if you want to, two of you could interact with the owls. If not, we'll just say it's morning.
Seems like it'd be fine to be morning. A nice, warm, summery day in the winter.
Yeah. You wake up. It is for sure a nice summery day in the winter. Cassidy does state, yeah, unfortunately we can't really discern why it's snowing in this current area. For sure we're in a mountain range, but it should not, be this way normally. Seasonally, throughout each season. But, the Forbidden Zone is forbidden for various reasons that many people aren't aware of.
Well, I suppose that's why there is an icy lake, right?
Quite right. Well, we will be getting to the lake tomorrow, but for today we should make strides on making sure that this little big guy looks towards the owl bear, makes their way home. Yeah, and for this one, I need probably win to roll survival to make sure that no one gets lost in the not storm, but terrible visibility here.
May the Korai guide you.
I mean, 27.
Not needed. Yeah.
I
didn't see the roll till after I said that.
Wynn's over here like an overzealous fire marshal, being like, in the event of...
It could be DC 30. We need to make sure we can hit that.
Yeah. The horse and honk almost keep trying to get lost, but eventually they do get corralled. But everyone else is okay. With the help of your guide and the help of the owlbear, you are able to discern the location where you need to go. Eventually, it does take till midday, but you do find the little cave that, well, little by its standards, pretty decent cave by your standards, that it resides in. And inside, you two see two little owlbear cubs that look exactly like their mother, because it's the same token, just small.
Mm-hmm. It's hereditary.
Though children, they are like 3 feet long, 2 feet tall, like a good big dog size.
Well, I make sure to maintain a respectful distance. You might want to be careful, Erwin. You don't want to trigger its mother bear instincts.
I know. I'm not that dumb. Yeah, I'll
say that you're dumb, but you know, you do tend to have a soft spot for these soft animals.
I have a soft spot for all animals. But yeah, I'll turn to the owlbear and give it a little pat on its head and tell them to go home.
Yeah, giving him a pet on the head, it like looks towards you, nods, more or less gives you like a quick little bear hug and like nuzzles into your cheek. And then like...
Oh, I'll nuzzle it back.
Yeah. It like begins to roam back towards where its home is. Looks towards its two kids. The two kids are like doing the whole calling towards their mother. And immediately the mother begins to groom them and like take them further into the cave.
And there's one red feather stuck in Wynn's hair.
Is there, or were you just being thematic?
That's just me being a dink. I don't know.
No. Finn's just gonna stand there for...
That's just stupid. She would have taken one of the blue ones for sure.
Finn's just gonna stand there for a few moments and bask in the good feelings of a family reunited.
Yeah.
Can we go now, please? I don't like the cold.
Raven does ask, did you not purchase winter clothing?
Remind me if we did. Probably not.
You did.
Yes, we did.
I still don't like it.
Yeah.
Finder's probably wearing like twice as much as anybody else. He still hates it.
You are still cold-blooded, so making your own internal heat's a little bit more difficult for you.
I don't think he is cold-blooded, but he still is like he grew up in the desert and like Haven. He's not all about this.
Yeah.
Of course, I put on my designer parka.
Yeah. And as that's going on, and like people beginning to regroup and steadily prepare themselves for the next journey, the next leg of this journey, when you do feel like something drop on your head, not hit your head per se, it doesn't do any damage, but like something drops on your head and like lands next to your right side.
I check what it is.
You look downwards, and it's a small little branch with like 3 berries on it. The branch itself is more akin to like a wand shape, but like with some grooves and edges, so it's not like a straight wand. And like above you, you hear like a chipmunk squawking.
That chipmunk's got a mean arm.
I'll smile anyway at a chipmunk as I hold the branch.
Yeah.
It's like if you're a kid and you found that perfect quote-unquote wand in the forest, you're like, this is the one.
It like waves
Find
towards
that
you
perfect-
and then like goes into the trees.
That was weird. I wasn't trying to do that.
Jimmy, did you try to mace the chipmunk?
No, I was.
Vermin!
I was looking through my inventory for my rations and accidentally clicked on something.
I see.
And it's like that perfect bent branch you find in the yard, and that's your toy gun for the entire summer.
Why was Wayne trying to cast the damage?
It was a
Yeah,
misplay.
Just an analogy of the twig.
Yeah. But I forgot to describe something else beforehand. Jemmy, when you were studying the stone while Wynn was meditating, you did feel like a course of energy through it. You do not know what it is still, but you do know it's arcane based, but you got nothing on it.
Well, just kind of gaze at it and just kind of admire the faceted nature of it. I mean, I am assuming that this is the way when you described it as a crystal. I'm assuming it's still got that kind of cut look to it, or is it actually more like a natural?
I mean, natural crystals are often very geometric. It's hard to say, but you are.
It is geometric.
You're definitely not a dwarf, though, right? You wouldn't know anything about that.
I'm not a dwarf.
It is geometric. It does look more like it's cut than anything else. Then again, it could also technically be from the ground. And like, you just got real lucky and you don't need to cut it at all.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure for the purposes of whether I was admiring the facets or some other quality about it. But so, all right, well, I'll just look at it for a little while and then I'll put it away.
Only someone on your team knew identify.
If only.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
But going back to this point in time, after Wynn collects the branch given as a gift from a chipmunk, you make way further into the forest. Because Wynn rolled so well, you don't get lost. You make way back to the original path you took, taking point of where you guys were beforehand. So when you go back to collect said rock, or attempt to collect said rock, you know where it is. As you
We all put it on our respective maps.
to-do list and maps.
Out of curiosity, are sunglasses a thing in this world?
I mean, you give Finder the idea, and he has all the means to create some.
Because if sunglasses are a thing in this world, Jemmy is definitely wearing some right now with his posh parka.
You don't want me to make you some traditional Inuit snow goggles.
The
Google
snow
that.
blindness.
They look both futuristic and old-timey. It's wild. Anyway,
Yeah, it's basically a
Well-
piece of wood with a slit through the middle, so you have to peek through it.
typically antler, but yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah,
Well,
very
for what it's
Cyclops of you.
well, for what it's worth, I'm only bringing up the sunglasses not as a way to deal with snow blindness, but just that whole. I'm just kind of imagining like that whole.
Fabulously wealthy.
It's not even so much. Well, it's along those lines, but I'm talking like, imagine the way you might expect somebody to dress when they're going to be in a music video looking like that.
Really, I was imagining Jemmy with the like the super desert goggles that are like, circular, and they have like the thing that goes to the side of your head and the ear loops, and it's like it keeps everything out. And it's like, we're into it now.
Oh, I was imagining something that looked more like really reflective aviator goggles that really just took the glare off but didn't do anything else. But they were expensive.
We all had opinions on those glasses. All right.
Yeah. Again, traveling and traversing, you don't get lost. It's, in fact, Wynn easily beat the measured point of travel for the day. You don't really encounter many things here because many things can't survive in this current environment. Those that can, you don't want to encounter, but they're very few and far between. For this day, unfortunately, no encounters for me, but fortunately, potentially, no encounters for you.
Let's make it to this magic circle, folks.
You rest up, relax for the night, and begin to travel again in the morning.
Oh, can I do something real quick if it's not like overly
Yeah, go ahead.
time? When we decide to rest for the night, Finn wants to try and concentrate or meditate on the shadow of memory he saw. And maybe start practicing forms again after that, if that would help. But trying to make another connection to whatever memory was attached to my credo core.
Okay. For that would be insight.
Finder will help with this flash of genius if, and only if, it grants him some insight as to exactly what Finn is doing.
Finn has no problems telling you if you just ask him outright, and if you do, I will go ahead and cantrip warm your jacket.
See, I don't know that, but I probably would just be like, what is this? Why is all the dancing around? What are you inciting me for?
I'm
Oh,
not
that was a
inciting
check
you,
you need to
said-
make.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a check I needed to make.
Oh, right.
Are you
Right,
gonna
right.
give me my flash of inspiration or no?
Did you not hear me say, what are you dancing around for?
Oh, in that case, yes, I'm trying to connect with my credo core. I believe the memory of its past owner might be imprinted on it. I want to try and learn.
To use the artifact as it was once used? To follow its forms, patterns, that you might relive those patterns yourself? Inside, +5, blah.
Alright, so that 12 turns into a 17, and I screwed up earlier. It's not going to change anything now, but just so you know, Dogma, I screwed up earlier. I should have rolled with advantage the first time.
Okay. Yeah, okay, good to know. As you try to commune, connect, and get another vision, explaining this to Finder, both of you try to use your own intelligence to bring more of a connection and understanding to this vision. As you do, you get a glimpse of something. This time you do need to make a wisdom save. You would have advantage, so you know.
And guess what? I can do it again, I think, unless it happens within 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Another wisdom shave, and here we go.
Oh my
I kind
gosh.
of need that.
+5.
Yeah, I mean,
fortune.
I'll try, but...
As you glimpse into
That would be a
something, you
14.
feel a very haunting presence. It is for sure the same robed individual, same brown robes. This time they're now tattered and broken apart. You see the blade at their left hand currently broken, like it's sparking, similar to the shape you saw it when your team found it at the shop. In front of them stands two other individuals, robed in similar garb, but they themselves do have blades, sun blades, both apiece. Not currently drawn out, so you don't see like the hue of the blade itself, but you can tell that this person, the person that has formerly had the blade that you have now, is in a pickle, or was in a pickle. Looking towards them, they begin to draw out their hands while the other two draw out their hands towards them. You see the red hair like glimmer in front of their face as if you're seeing through their own eyes. So again, very long red hair. But instead of some power, you see a large gust of wind in the area blockade both their vision and the vision of the two individuals in front of them. And in that moment in time, you see them jump backwards with likely the power of the core eye, as they're nearly very far gone from the moment they jumped. And as they do, you see them running away from the enemy towards a direction to the south of where they stand now. And as they do, they keep jumping in leaps and bounds. And in a horizon view of things, you do see the city of Haven. Far in the distance, but close enough that this person can get to it in the day. And as you see that, the vision disappears and you're back in front of Finder. And for Finder, it's been like 3 seconds.
Okay. A few more pieces of the puzzle have been revealed, but no answers just yet. More questions.
Oh.
Thank you for your assistance.
You're welcome.
Couldn't find the right color, but in the picture sharing, I've got a picture of what I kind of imagine Jemmy wearing. Just imagine that the coat is white instead of black. And the underclothes would be different, of course.
Sheesh. I bet Win has something to say about that.
Very nice. Oh, I also just saw the token of the beetle. Thank you. I'll import that later.
Yeah, I sent that to you when you said you didn't have a beetle token.
Yeah, and I just saw it. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. But as that vision clears up, you recuperate, train in the forms you saw, and the rest of you do your own things as well. By morning, and go ahead.
No, go.
By morning, you're all fully rested, if not a bit cold. And a few hours into travel, I'm going to just say you auto-succeed because you've been succeeding this entire time. So why would I cause you to fail at the very end of things? To be rude.
Spite.
Fair enough. You reach to the frozen lake. But as you reach closer to the frozen lake, when for a while you've been feeling like a weird presence around you, it's not someone around you, it's more like you're drawing towards something powerful. You've never felt this type of feeling beforehand. It feels like not as a part of you, but you're connected to it in some way.
Is it the energy that I was connected to when I was at the rock?
It definitely feels like that semblance of a connection. Like the same type of feelings you get are there.
Can I try see into it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, survival. It won't be as difficult, but it will be a check. Advantage.
Am I close enough to help or am I unaware?
Nat 20.
Fair, I'm gonna say
Let
no.
me connect the call.
Doesn't need it.
The call goes through. I am connected.
The call goes through. You are connected. As you glimmer into the scope that you saw beforehand, this time almost instantly you dive back into that ocean of consciousness. You see around you a massive weave of energy coursing through the land. You don't get those visions of people, plants, animals growing, adapting, changing, running away. You just immediately connect to the thing. Underground, this isn't the epicenter, mind you. That is still further away. But underground here, there is a massive pool of energy. Like, we're talking a mile deep, and you can see it. It is large. It is roughly the size of... The best way I can describe this, the size of a very large building.
No, we can't put the whole lake in the bag of holding.
It's also a mile deep. That being said, though, you can tell that this structure is connected to something even bigger further up north. And even still, those rocks days away are connected to this thing here. So, like, this energy is seeping into the ground and very far away, which means that it's potent.
Can I try to tap into it again?
Oh, girl.
I will say that this pool is bigger than what you did before. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's bigger.
You know, we can't help you on that second roll.
Yeah. But you know what? If I gain like little by little, you know, it will add up, right? So.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just can't get a nat one.
if you are talking about little by little, you just said this is a much larger pool of energy. Doesn't sound little.
Not saying this in character.
She's not actually saying it out loud.
Yeah. So, Dogma, can I? Let's do this.
Okay. Survival.
I can just see you like Shrek on ice your way to
Oh,
the
no,
middle
you're
of the
fine.
conflicts.
Pooling your energy and
Actually, a little better than before.
only a little bit better. Like by one, some might say. Communing and honing into this energy pool, you grasp onto a tether to this thing, to this far larger expanse. As you do, a immediate rush of energy pulls into your body. It hurts and it burns. You feel the same pain. In fact, you felt it in an instant, and you feel it's getting even harder to breathe.
I gave her
to
the
move.
flash of genius.
No.
Sorry.
As it burns into your body, you feel pain, actual living physical pain. This pool was bigger. The DC was harder. You didn't roll a natural 1, but it's still gonna hurt. To lessen it, roll a con save.
Flash of genius?
Nah, but they got a 17. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Advantage this time. Damn it.
Oh.
I wasted the nat 20.
Well, the truth be told, Finder probably wouldn't have been within 30 feet of you. He'd probably be like scared of that shit.
I thankfully enough rolled low, and you succeeded. So the second pool of damage doesn't go through. You instantly realize you should let go. You do take half of this psychic damage, so let's round it to 9 because that's the exact round.
So that's what the division was.
So, Lynn will stumble and kind of fall into Raisin, who is next to her. And it's still going north. It's not the center of it, but it's connected. I tried to connect with it as well and it overpowered me a bit.
Is she obviously injured? I mean, is her nose bleeding or her eyes bloodshot or something from the psychic damage?
Sure.
What's that?
She's like, sure. It's like, I did state that her nose is bleeding.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's like grasping her head and chest.
Finn comes up and touches you, and wait a second. You get 10 points of healing from the healing light.
Thanks. Ugh. It was a lot more power than the stones in the forest.
Well,
By the way, are we trying to head that direction? And I point where the power all leads to.
Well, I'm not exactly sure where. There's a lot of things north. We are going north, technically. Using this, again, believed magical circle. We are heading to Arcadia. And Arcadia is north. The only other things I can think of that are northward are Hell's Mountains Pass, which is a peak some people try to traverse to try to get as close as possible to Arcadia up north. Other than that, if you've skewed the angle roughly a little bit further right, you may hit eventually Noche, but that's a good distance away.
Question. So was it like a giant magic circle I was feeling and just a reservoir of energy, or was it actually like a structure that was resonating energy? It wasn't a magic circle I was sensing. It was an actual structure that was resonating energy right underneath the ice.
Fascinating. When I should state that, yes, for sure a structure, but that structure could have a magic circle.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sensing the magic circle. I was just sensing, just magic. That was resonating from this building.
Yes, very true.
I don't want to speculate.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, if that much energy. Go ahead.
Thanks for catching me. Sorry I fell into you. I say to Raven.
Well, if you are correct, that is likely how the magic circle is still being powered, with the amount of energy you have felt.
What is this magic circle?
Well, it is a circle we tap into to get to, the ground, without the need for some of the higher-ups to use one of their contraptions to get us back down to the surface level. It is a circle that was long since found by Miss Cassidy's family. Her maternal lineage. And it's been used for covert missions. As mentioned beforehand, our mission was covert to bring in a few samples from the city of Arcadia, which is why we use the circle. We're not exactly sure where the circle comes from or what is connected to. Now that you're here, Miss Wynn, we now know it's connected to something. And it's likely that we are able to transverse and travel from the frozen lake due to the fact that everything else around here is solid, and this is the only viable point to come from.
If I'm granted more time later, I could peer into the lines again and see where it's all connecting. So far, everything's been connecting to something further north, and it's been spreading to all the way further from the stone. It's a large network of intertwining webs of energy. Like, it looks like webs or like roots of a tree is just spreading and connecting to other things throughout the land, and it all converges in the north. We'd love to take more time and study this later, but right now let's get you guys back.
Quite right. Well, no time like the present. Gets onto the frozen lake. It is slippery, but he shows you how to do it so no one falls.
I'll still be holding on to him, walking across the ice.
Yeah, he politely moves.
Escorts me.
Yes.
And we all follow.
But, Raven, if you don't mind, I can tell you when I sense these giant reservoirs of energy along our way.
It'd be useful information. This is the first time we've gleaned something like this, so...
I'll try to keep my senses open. Or I can do it for a short amount of time, but I think I'm starting to get the hang of it.
Well, I prefer you to live, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, if this...
I'll try not to connect with the energies. I'll just try to observe.
Hopefully. Ray shouts towards Jimmy. Are you coming with us?
Certainly. Just got a little bit distracted there for a moment.
Oh, did anything happen to the mark on my hand or no?
There's a small little leaf from one of the branches.
Oh, hey! It changed. I show Raven.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got this from connecting to the energies at the rocks, and the leaf appeared when I tried to connect to the energy here.
I see.
It is very interesting.
Well, I don't know what it is. It is definitely something to, for sure, examine and study.
Well, next time I try to connect with the energies of this land, I'll try not to connect to a giant reservoir of energy like this. maybe a nice little puddle would be more better for her.
Fair enough. But as you have a good time talking, Raven begins to cast the spell, and underneath your feet you do see a magical circle propagate. It feels like it came from underneath the ice and then eventually forms underneath your feet. And he does state, we'll be entering in from the main corridor of the city itself, so if you don't want people to notice you, I do suggest you cover your face now.
And take off all this winter gear.
What was that one?
Does it cover our face?
Again, dependent on what you decide to do. If you want your presence not known. I just want to state the fact that we'll be entering from the very middle of the city, so making sure you're not surprised by that.
And would it be a good idea for us to take off all of our winter gear to make ourselves less conspicuous?
Honestly, yes.
Yeah, should we change into the proper clothes now, or
The spell will hold for like an hour until I decide to use it, so up to you.
Might be wise.
sure,
One quick closet montage later.
so, yeah. Cassidy, can you hold up like a sheet so I can change, like over there?
Cassie
Finn
does take
can
of
just
course.
telekinesis. Oh, I was gonna say Finn can telekinesis a blanket up.
Yeah, Finn, you telekinesis some like cloth like around the tree so it like makes perfect cover. Same with the group to the right, group to the left. For sure, people that don't want to be seen don't get seen.
Yeah, like I'm looking around the party and like Cassidy's the only other girl here, so.
Oh, there's Cassidy.
Yeah, that's upset Cassidy.
And maybe the horse.
Finder does this
Okay,
like
what?
lightning because he hates the cold. He's like, "Let's go, people. Are you not ready? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go."
Well, if you like, Win, I could be your twin.
Okay.
Finder points a gun at Jemmy. Don't you make this take longer than it has to.
Oh, who cares about to take it longer as long as it's funnier?
Alright, so Lynn goes around the privacy curtain and changes.
Yeah. Cassidy also changes as well, so does...
She'll cast a bonfire over there with some like twigs and stuff like that to keep her warm while she changes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, on the frozen lake.
The curiosity, what's the weather like
It's
on the other
over
side?
there by the trees.
Also, that was me being snotty. You can definitely have a bonfire on frozen ice. It's fine.
Jimmy, you were saying?
What's the weather like at the destination?
Moderately sunny, will be in the clouds, so no actual weather should affect us. There are sometimes gusts of winds that will, which is why people wear like breezy clothing.
What I mean, are we dealing with a warm day or a cool one?
Relatively warm, but pleasant warm.
Okay. So, I'm gonna go ahead and take off my coat and lay the inside layer of it down on the ice for a few minutes. Actually, let me know when we're about ready to leave, then I'll do this.
Yeah. 49 minutes later, after Wynn gets everything set up and Cassidy, Raven does state, "All right, we're as good as we're gonna get." Jimmy.
All right, so yeah, so I'll spend a few minutes kind of cooling off the inside of the coat, and then like, okay, I'll put it on and I'm ready.
Yeah.
Now Finn goes ahead and changes in an appropriately, not seen area or whatever. And then when he comes back out, he's like, risk. Kind of enjoying the cold. He looks over at Finder, just standing there shivering in his nice clothes.
Yeah, he's like patting himself with prestidigitation, or I forget. Yeah, prestidigitation, being like, "This part's warm. Gotta keep moving. Gotta keep moving my hands." Oh, this sucks.
Finn just kind of waves his hand up, and prestidigitate warms your clothes, so your clothes are all just a little warmer for a minute.
Yeah,
So
road
puts his hands
doubling up.
behind his back again. We'll be fine. Very soon we'll be in the city. Just
Don't you
watching
look
you
superior? Don't you look superior to me? You wouldn't even have that weapon if you hadn't employed me.
That is true, and I helped warm you up, and I do have great appreciation for your assistance. I've said nothing of those still different.
No, yeah, your posture says otherwise. Let's go. Are we all in the circle?
Perhaps that's a misunderstanding.
I'm
I
sure
don't
my
mean to be
disposition
arrogant.
will become better once we are in a warm place.
I don't mean to be arrogant, if that's what you perceive. It's just, I am a Quora Knight now. One must carry oneself with confidence, an air of authority.
Raven does state, all right, other than find their sassiness of being in the cold still, we're good to go. It seems like everyone's ready. Don't know why we're bringing this horse along, but technically counts.
Well, it's better than leaving it freeze in the cold.
We could have left it in the forest. I digress. We're bringing it in now.
If anyone questions this horse as a spy,
you guys teleport into a area it's unfamiliar to you. It is vast, it is large, and you do see a large amount of people currently talking about their day, things of that notion. You don't really see any guards around, so like people don't use this circle unless need be. But for sure people do notice you all. Yeah, you more or less stand out, but you don't stand out enough that people truly like look and observe you. Thankfully enough, due to the clothing you now have, it's like, oh, potential visitors, or like, oh, people that are coming back from mission or something. And they observe you and then take back their day as if nothing happened. But as all of you look around, you see this.
airships and all.
A massive city sprawling with like various, well, the best way I can say is masses of new things you have yet to see. You see like some small but some large things flying in the air that look like ships with wings on them. Some of them look as if they're personal vehicles. It feels as if, oh yeah, you guys are the research and development department at Haven. Whatever these things are, maybe they're hiding it as a secret, or maybe they don't know how to create them or recreate them, and they're just still using them. But at the exact same time, it's like, wow. What are these, and can I have one? And
Finn smiles.
Think-
It reminds me of some of the larger cities in Eberron. I half expect a sky train to fly by. This place is great.
Mine is probably dumbstruck.
I'm not feeling the energy like I did before here, right?
you feel... It's weird. It feels like a blankness. It feels as if you've dived into some new place, new location, which you have. The energy you felt beforehand, it was like drawing towards you or calling towards you because you were near something big. You don't feel that connection. That's not to say you don't have it still. The best way I can describe it is think of yourself as a drop of water and think of the last thing you were being drawn towards as a river. Still massive and still larger than you could feel beforehand, but you could still feel it. This feels as if you are in an ocean. In the quick instance you arrived here, you felt something massive, and it's taking your body its own mental fortitude to adjust as quickly as possible before you're overwhelmed. And you no longer feel it, but in that brief instance of arriving here, you felt it. You felt an ocean over a river. But you no longer feel it.
So is this the place it was leading me to or no?
For you, it seems like it is. You just don't know where in the city it might be drawing you towards. But somewhere in this city is that ocean.
All right.
As that happens, and like as you feel his emotions, and as you look around, Finn saying something about Eberron again. Raven does state, "All right then. First we need to do is go visit the council. Say hello to Cassidy's mother there as well. But for now, welcome to Arcadia, and hopefully, nothing bad happens here. We still have the mission at hand. Find out who's." He says this obviously when people are not around to overhear. We still need to find the people that have potentially put a hit on Cassidy's life. But for now, we can take some respite. And once again, welcome to Arcadia, and welcome to our home. As we end the session for today.
Yay!